The alien race known as the Trell stood on the edge of extinction. Their worlds, once full of bright crystal cities, now lay in silence and smoke. Their enemy, the mysterious force called the Void Legion, moved across star systems like a shadow made of death. No warnings, no radio signals, no demands, only destruction. Every planet the Void touched disappeared within hours. The Trell were terrified. They reached out to every advanced civilization they knew. The Varn Dominion, the Kalari Union, the Zwanth clans, everyone refused to help. Some said the Void Legion could not be fought. Others feared the Trell would bring the Void to their borders. No one wanted to share their fate. In desperation, the Trell Council made one last attempt. They sent a message into the deep dark, to a species the galaxy barely knew. Humans. The galaxy considered humans primitive, loud, emotional, and too young to understand real war. But the Trell had no choice. They sent their final hope to Earth. When the message left their communication towers, the Trell expected a quick answer. Either a refusal or maybe a clumsy promise of help. But instead, nothing came back. Hours turned into days. On the first day, the Council waited with hope. On the second day, they began to worry. By the fifth day, they assumed humans had rejected them. Some Trell whispered that humanity was too weak. Others said humans were afraid. A few believed humans never even received the message. Maybe their technology was too basic. Whatever the truth was, the Trell accepted that they were alone. Their main capital, Trellin Prime, prepared for evacuation. Families rushed through silver gates to underground shelters. Towers dimmed as power was saved for the final defense. Soldiers stood with shaking hands. No one believed they had a chance. Then, without warning, the sky changed. It did not light up. It did not thunder. It tore open, as if something huge was cutting reality itself. A massive shape appeared above the clouds. Long, dark, silent. A ship so large it blocked half the sunset. It had no lights, no glowing engines, no banners. Its hull was black, absorbing every ray of light around it. It looked more like a shadow than a ship. The Trell panicked. Their alarms screamed across the city. Defense cannons pointed upward. Citizens ran back into bunkers. The sky itself felt heavy, like this ship was dragging fear with it. For a moment, no one spoke. Not the Trell. Not the ship. Not even the wind. Then a voice echoed from the dark vessel. Come. Cold. Controlled. We received your call. Step aside. The Trell froze. It was a human voice. But it did not sound like the voice of a weak or frightened species. It sounded like someone who had done this before. Someone who knew exactly what they were dealing with. Someone who had come prepared. The Trell Council rushed to their command tower. Their screens lit up with a single transmission from the human ship. Just the voice, no image. Counselor Vora tried to speak. Human vessel, you came? Are you here to help? There was a pause. Then the same voice replied. We don't come to help. We come to stop what is coming. No one understood. How did humans know about the Void Legion? The Trell believed humans had never encountered them. Before the Council could ask more, the sky shifted again. A cold, dark wave spread across the atmosphere. Sensors screamed warnings. The Void Legion had arrived. Black tear-like shapes opened in the air as void ships slipped through silently. No engines. No heat. No life signs. Just cold, perfect death. The Trell defense towers opened fire, but their shots passed through the void ships like they were smoke. Panic exploded everywhere. But the human ship did not move. It simply spoke again. We said step aside. Then the dark human vessel changed. Panels on its hull unfolded like wings of metal. Strange blue symbols lit up across its surface, symbols no Trell had ever seen. Energy built around the ship, bending the sky like ripples in water. A deep sound rose from the human ship, not a siren, not a cannon blast, but something ancient and powerful, like a star waking up. Then it fired. Not lasers. Not missiles. Something else. A pulse of white-blue energy swept across the sky and struck the void ships. For the first time in history, the Void Legion did not simply pass through an attack. They were pushed back, their dark forms twisting, shaking, breaking. The Trell watched in disbelief. Humans had done something no one had ever achieved. They had hurt the Void. More human ships appeared behind the first, sleek, silent, deadly. They came in formation, moving with the precision of a species that had trained for this exact war. Commander Hale, the voice from the first ship, spoke once more. We warned the galaxy. No one listened. But you called. So we came. The Trell felt a mix of relief and fear. For the first time they understood. They had not brought a weak species into their world. They had summoned something powerful. Something dangerous. Something the galaxy had underestimated for too long. And as the first human fleet charged toward the Void Legion, one thought echoed through every Trell mind. What exactly have we invited into our war? The first human strike had shaken the sky itself. But for the Trell, the real shock came after the light faded. The Void Legion, those silent, unstoppable shadows, were actually falling back. No one in the galaxy had ever seen such a thing. The Void never retreated. They never reacted. They only consumed. Yet now, for the first time, tiny fractures ran across their dark hulls, like cracks in glass. The Trell High Commander, Redhar, stared at the sky, his hands trembling. "What power is that?" he whispered. But before anyone could answer, space above Trellin Prime opened again, this time in dozens of places. More human ships arrived. Some were huge triangular carriers, their hulls covered in strange lines that moved like living metal. Others were smaller strike ships shaped like arrows, silent and fast. They slid into formation with perfect timing, as if every ship shared one mind. Commander Hale's voice returned. "Trell Council, maintain distance. Our operation has begun." Operation? The Trell barely had defenses left. How could humans have a plan ready? Counselor Vora forced herself to speak. "Commander Hale, how did your fleet arrive so fast? You never answered our message." A short pause followed. Then the human replied. "We received your message the moment you sent it." The Trell Council exchanged confused looks. That made no sense. Their message would have taken days to travel across space. Humans didn't have the technology to. Hale continued. "But we were already on the move. The Void Legion attacked one of our outer colonies. We were tracking them when your signal passed by our fleet." The Trell froze in shock. Humans were already fighting the Void? No other species had survived a single encounter with them. Yet humans spoke as if this was familiar, expected. Before the Council could ask more, a second wave of Void ships spilled into the sky. Larger ones, their bodies twisting like liquid shadow. They gave off no sound, but their presence chilled the entire planet. A Trell officer whispered, "They're adapting?" The Void Legion always adapted. Every weapon used against them became useless the next time. The Trell felt terror rising again, until they saw what humans did next. The human fleet shifted positions instantly. Their ships formed a massive half-circle around the Void, trapping them. The largest human carrier, marked HSS Black Sun, moved to the center. Blue rings lit up along its surface. Commander Hale's voice echoed. "Phase 2. Gravity nets, launch." Huge metallic spheres shot out from the human ships. When they opened, they didn't explode. They didn't shine. Instead, they bent the air itself, warping gravity around the Void ships. The dark enemy twisted violently, unable to move forward. Trell scientists gasped. No one has ever trapped the Void Legion before. But the humans were not done. Human bomb technicians began their part. On the planet's surface, strange human machines deployed from dropships. They resembled large black cubes with moving panels. They dug themselves into the ground, forming a network across Trellin Prime. Trell soldiers stared nervously as human engineers worked quickly, placing glowing devices into the soil. One Trell captain asked a human engineer, "What are those?" The engineer replied with a casual shrug. "Shock anchors. Prevent the Void from phasing through reality." "You're welcome." As if it was the simplest thing. Meanwhile, in orbit, the Void Legion fought desperately against the human gravity nets. Their dark bodies shook, cracked, and stretched unnaturally. Some even shattered, something the galaxy believed was impossible. The Trell watched in disbelief. Humanity was doing what no empire ever did. They weren't surviving the Void. They were dominating them. But something felt strange. Humans were too prepared. Too coordinated. Too calm. As if they had been waiting for this war. Counselor Vora finally asked the question everyone feared. "Commander Hale, how long have your people known about the Void Legion?" The reply came slow, heavy, like Hale knew the truth would change everything. "Since the last time they came." The Trell froze. "Last time? Humans fought the Void before?" Redhar asked. Hale continued. "Our species faced a similar enemy almost 400 years ago. They destroyed entire continents on Earth. We beat them back, but we knew they would return." The Trell felt their hearts sink. Humans had survived a Void attack before? And never told anyone? "Why didn't you warn the galaxy?" Counselor Vora asked. Hale replied bitterly. "We tried. Your empires laughed. Said we were paranoid. Said shadows from old human myths could not harm advanced species. The truth hit the trail like ice. Humans had been ignored, mocked, left to face the dark alone. No wonder humans built silent black ships. No wonder they trained their engineers, commanders, and bomb teams for this exact threat. No wonder their technology seemed ancient and advanced at the same time. They were survivors of a war the galaxy refused to believe. Before the Council could respond, alarm screamed across Trellin Prime. A massive void leviathan, the largest void entity ever recorded, emerged from a dark rift. Even the human ships paused. It was enormous, hundreds of meters long, covered in swirling shadow. Its empty face turned toward the planet like a mouth ready to swallow a world. Trell citizens screamed as its shadow spread across the surface. Commander Hale finally spoke. All units, prepare for full engagement. We end this here. Human ships powered up. The void leviathan roared, silent but terrifying. And the Trell realized, they were not watching a battle. They were witnessing the beginning of a war humanity had waited centuries to finish. The sky over Trellin Prime darkened as the void leviathan fully emerged from the rift. It was not just large, it was wrong. Its body twisted like liquid night, its edges shifting between solid and mist. Its shape was impossible to understand. It felt like the creature was not fully inside their reality. The more the Trell looked at it, the more their minds ached. The Trell people froze in fear as the monster drifted forward, silent but hungry. High Commander Redhar felt his breath catch. This thing could swallow our entire world, he whispered. Commander Hale of the humans did not freeze. He did not panic. His voice turned sharp. All human vessels, Leviathan Protocol. Form the ring. Instantly, every human ship shifted position. The carriers moved outward. The smaller arrow-like ships formed tight circles. The Black Sun took center front, facing the massive creature alone. It was a formation the Trell had never seen, organized, precise, and built for a battle too large for any normal enemy. The Trell Council watched in awe. Humans have a Leviathan Protocol? Counselor Vora asked quietly. Scientist Avel shook his head. No species has ever recorded a creature this size. How did humans prepare for something like this? Rethar's voice was hollow. Because they expected it. A cold realization spread through the council chamber. Humans didn't just know the void. Humans didn't just prepare for it. Humans built strategies for monsters no one believed existed. The Leviathan moves. The Leviathan turned its massive hollow face toward the human fleet. The air vibrated, though no sound came. The creature opened something like a mouth, impossible, stretching wider than physics allowed, and space around it began to pull inward like a gravity well. Ships tilted. Energy beams bent. Trellin Prime's atmosphere shook. Commander Hale shouted. Stabilizers. Hold formation. The human vessels activated counter-gravity fields. Blue rings lit up on their hulls as the invisible pull fought against their engines. The Trell watched horrified. What kind of monster can pull a planet into itself? Someone whispered. A human voice answered over the open broadcast, one of Hale's lieutenants. One we've met before. The Trell stared at each other. Before they could question this terrifying statement, the Leviathan attacked. The first strike. Without any warning, a wave of dark energy blasted from the creature's body. It moved like a ripple of night, spreading outward. Human ships fired counterwaves, bright pulses of white-blue energy that collided with the darkness. The sky lit up in a flash of blue and black, tearing clouds apart. The clash shook the air like thunder. Trell soldiers felt the ground tremble beneath their feet. The energy from the Leviathan was unlike anything seen before. It wasn't heat. It wasn't plasma. It wasn't radiation. It was something older. Something that felt alive. And it burned anything it touched. Several human ships took glancing hits. One spiraled, half its hull dissolving into dust. Another cracked, its sides melting like wax. But the humans did not break formation. They pushed forward. Humans reveal their weapon. Activate the lances. Commander Hale commanded. Panels on the Black Sun opened, revealing 6 huge spear-like structures that glowed with blue patterns. Their tips aimed directly at the Leviathan. A Trell scientist gasped. Are those weapons? No, Redhar said. Those are too big for weapons. He was wrong. The spears fired. But instead of light or missiles, beams of compressed gravity shot out. They hit the Leviathan's shifting body, and for the first time the creature reacted. It recoiled. Its liquid dark flesh rippled violently, sending shockwaves into space. Its form flickered in and out like a glitch. The Trell stared in disbelief. They heard it, Counselor Vora whispered. They actually heard it. But the Leviathan was not beaten. Not even close. It released a second pulse, stronger, darker, faster. The black sun took the full hit. Its hull shook. Lights flickered. One of the giant lances shattered. Hale's voice came through, steady but strained. All ships, prepare for third wave. Keep firing. The Trell were stunned. Humans were fighting a monster bigger than their cities, as if this was normal. A history revealed. While the battle raged above, the Trell Council demanded answers. Commander Hale, Counselor Vora said, her voice shaking, how do you know how to fight something like this? How do you have weapons designed for creatures from the void? After a long silence, Hale responded. Because the last Leviathan almost destroyed Earth. The Trell fell silent. Redhar whispered, there was another one? Hale answered, 4 centuries ago. It appeared in our oceans. We lost millions. The Trell felt the weight of his words. Humans had already survived this horror once. They learned from it, prepared for it, built weapons for it, and no one in the galaxy believed them. Counselor Vora's voice was soft. Why didn't you tell us? Hale's answer came sharp. We did. You all mocked us. The Trell felt shame deep and cold. But the battle was not over. The Leviathan's final gambit. The creature began absorbing energy from the broken rift behind it. Its size grew. Its body solidified. Its shadow stretched across half the planet like a curtain of darkness. The Trell screamed. The human fleet staggered. Even Hale sounded tense now. All ships. Defensive wall. The Leviathan is preparing a collapse wave. Collapse wave. A term no Trell had ever heard. A weapon strong enough to crush continents. The Leviathan raised its massive, impossible form. And everything went silent. Too silent. Redhar felt his bones tremble. This is the end. Then Hale shouted. Fire the star core. The black sun's entire lower hull opened. A sphere of swirling blue-white energy appeared, small but impossibly bright. The Trell shielded their eyes. The Leviathan turned toward the light. And the humans fired the star core directly into its heart. The sky exploded. Light swallowed darkness. The Leviathan screamed without sound. And everything disappeared into white. The sky above Trellin Prime turned into pure white. It wasn't the brightness of a star. It wasn't the heat of an explosion. It was something deeper, something that felt like reality itself was being rewritten. The void Leviathan vanished inside the storm of light. Its massive body twisted, tore apart, and dissolved like smoke pulled into a vacuum. For a moment, time itself seemed to stop. Trell soldiers, council members, scientists, every single person froze. Their vision blurred. Their ears rang. Their hearts shook. Some fell to their knees. Some cried. Some simply stared at the white sky in stunned silence. The star core had been fired. And no one, not even humans, knew what would happen next. The silence that followed. After what felt like an eternity, the light slowly faded. The sky dimmed, returning to its natural deep blue. But the Leviathan was gone. Not broken. Not defeated. Completely erased. No trace remained. No shadow. No debris. Not even the rift it came from. The Trell Council sat in stunned silence. Counselor Vora was the first to speak, her voice weak. It worked. High Commander Redhar shook his head slowly. I do not know if worked is the right word, he whispered. Something that large, something that powerful, and it was simply erased. Then, suddenly, every screen in the Trell command hall flickered. The humans were calling. Commander Hale lives. The image was shaky at first, then stabilized. Commander Hale stood on the bridge of the Black Sun. Smoke drifted behind him. Parts of his armor were cracked. Screens flickered red. Sparks flew from broken consoles. The Black Sun had taken heavy damage. But Hale was calm, standing tall like a man who had survived the impossible before. Trell Council, he said, the Leviathan has been neutralized. Neutralized. The way he said the word made it sound simple. Routine. Like removing a threat he had expected all along. Counselor Vora bowed her head slightly. Commander, you saved our world. Hale shook his head. Not just your world. That Leviathan would have moved to your colonies, your allies, then our borders. You called and we acted. Redhar stepped forward. Commander, that weapon you fired. What was it? No species in the galaxy has ever shown such power. Hale took a breath. The star core is not a weapon. It is a last resort. The Trell stared at him. You mean, it has limits? Vora asked. Hale nodded. If we fire a star core again within the next cycle, The recoil will collapse our entire ship. Rethar's voice dropped. So the Black Sun cannot do that again? Hale's expression hardened. We hope we never need to. The warning. The screens behind Hale flickered, showing blurry images of the battlefield. Human ships were moving to rescue damaged vessels. Engineers were repairing torn hulls. Medics carried wounded soldiers through smoke-filled corridors. This was not a clean victory. Humanity had paid a price. And the Trell realized something else. None of the humans looked surprised. None of them panicked. None of them acted like this was new. They had trained for this, prepared for this, expected this. Vora gathered the courage to ask the question weighing on every Trell mind. Commander Hale, how many of these void creatures exist? Hale closed his eyes for a moment, then spoke the words that froze the entire Trell Council. We believe this was only a scout. Silence struck the room like a hammer. A scout. The massive Leviathan, the world-crushing monster, was not the main force. Redhar felt his chest tighten. If that was a scout, then what does their main force look like? Hale answered with a haunted voice. We don't know. Last time the scouts came first. Then something even worse arrived. Counselor Vora's voice trembled. What came last time? Hale turned his gaze to the battlefield outside his window. A world eater. The Trell Council gasped. Humans had fought that? Survived that? Redhar whispered, how did Earth survive? Hale looked away. We barely did. The human fleet regroups. As the conversation continued, the human fleet reorganized. Rescue teams recovered debris. Engineers patched hulls with fast-forming nanometal. Drones scanned for any remaining void traces. Small human repair ships, like flying workshops, moved from vessel to vessel, restoring shields and stabilizing reactors. Every human was working. Every human looked exhausted. But none looked afraid. The Trell watched them with a new kind of respect and fear. Humans were not just warriors. They were survivors. They were planners. And above all, they were ready. A dangerous request. Commander Hale turned back to the Trell Council. We need your help. The Trell were shocked. You need our help? Vora asked. Hale nodded. The Void Legion will return. And next time, we won't be able to fight alone. Redhar asked quietly, what do you want from us? Hale's eyes hardened. Access to your ancient vaults. Every Trell froze. The ancient vaults. The oldest structures in their entire civilization. No one entered them. No one even remembered who built them. Some believed they were older than the Trell race itself. Vora stammered, why? Those vaults have nothing but old machines and ruins. Hale shook his head. Those ruins are not Trell. They belong to the ones who faced the void before you. A chill ran through the command hall. What do you mean? Redhar asked. Hale answered. Your planet once belonged to a civilization even older than you. A civilization that fought, and almost defeated, the Void Legion. The Trell felt their blood run cold. So the vaults, Vora whispered. Hale finished her sentence. May contain the only weapons left in the galaxy that can stop what's coming. The Trell Council chamber fell into complete silence. Commander Hale's final words echoed through every mind. The vaults may contain the only weapons left in the galaxy that can stop what's coming. Counselor Vora stood frozen, her hands shaking. The ancient vaults were a myth to many Trell. Old tales said they were built before the Trell ever walked on this world. Built by a civilization older than recorded time. High Commander Redhar forced himself to speak. Commander Hale, how do you know what is inside our vaults? Even we do not understand their origin. Hale's expression grew dark. Because we found similar vaults, on Earth. The Trell stared at him, stunned. You mean, Vora whispered, your world had these too? Hale nodded slowly. During the last Void invasion we discovered ruins deep beneath our oceans. They were older than any human culture. Older than our planet's written history. Scientist Avel leaned forward. Are you suggesting an ancient civilization once connected Earth and Trellin Prime? Hale replied. Not just connected. They defended both worlds. A heavy silence followed. It felt impossible, yet after everything the Trell had witnessed, they could no longer doubt humanity's words so easily. Preparing to descend. The human fleet began sending small shuttles toward the surface. Engineers and data specialists prepared scanning equipment. Bomb technicians carried containment units glowing with bright blue energy. The Trell watched carefully. Humans weren't acting like explorers. They were acting like soldiers preparing to open a cage. The Council finally gave their answer. Counselor Vora spoke. Commander Hale, You have permission to enter the vaults. But we will accompany you. Hale nodded respectfully. Understood. But be ready. Once those vaults open, we cannot predict what will awaken. Redhar swallowed hard. Awaken? Hale said nothing. But the look in his eyes was enough. At the entrance of the vault. The largest ancient vault lay far north, hidden beneath a frozen mountain range. The Trell had built cities around it over centuries, but no one had ever opened its massive obsidian doors. Now, for the first time in thousands of years, humans and Trell stood before it together. The entrance was enormous, black stone carved into impossible shapes, twisting like frozen waves. Strange symbols glowed faintly, written in a language no species could read. Human engineers unpacked their equipment. One Trell soldier whispered, "Will you break the door?" The human chief engineer gave a small smile. Break it? No. These doors would survive a supernova. We're here to wake them up. The Trell felt a chill. Humans weren't trying to force their way in, they were trying to communicate with something ancient. The door responds. A human device was placed on the stone surface. It hummed softly. Then energy rippled across the vault door like water. The symbols brightened. The ground trembled. The air grew cold. A deep, distant sound echoed through the mountains, something like a heartbeat. Vora stepped back. What is that? Hale's face turned serious. The vault was waiting for a signal. And now, it recognizes us. The door cracked open. Not outward. Not inward. It folded into itself, disappearing like liquid metal. Every Trell gasped. Humans did not. They looked as if they had seen this before. Inside the vault. The air inside was warm, dusty old. The walls glowed with faint blue lines, forming patterns like constellations. Giant statues lined the hall, tall, slender beings with elongated faces and glowing eyes. Not Trell. Not human. Something older. Avel approached one statue and whispered, "These beings, they are not of our biology." Hale nodded. "We call them the First Guardians." "Your people have records of them?" Redhar asked. "No," Hale replied. "Only ruins. Symbols. Fragments. We only know they fought the void before us." He paused. "And they lost." The Trell felt dread slowly coil through them. If a civilization this advanced was destroyed, what chance did the galaxy have? The First Guardian weapon. The group reached a massive chamber at the center of the vault. A giant machine rested on a pedestal, round, glowing with shifting lights. Its design matched nothing known to any species. It pulsed gently, alive with ancient power. Hale approached slowly. "This is what we came for," he said. "A Celestia core." Avel shook his head. "What does it do?" Hale touched the device gently. "It amplifies power. It turns a single ship into a planet breaker. It turns a fleet into a star killer. It turns a weapon into something the void fears." The Trell stepped back at those words. "Star killer?" Vora whispered. Hale nodded. "If we use this, we can destroy the Void Legion at the source." A stunned silence followed. Redhar finally asked, "What stopped the First Guardians from using it?" Hale quietly answered, "They did use it." Everyone froze. "And?" Vora asked nervously. "What happened?" Hale stared at the glowing sphere. "Their weapon worked. They destroyed the void. But the recoil destroyed them too." The Trell felt the blood drain from their faces. "So if we use this device," Avel whispered. Hale finished the thought. "Then humanity and the Trell may not survive the victory." A heavy decision. The chamber grew painfully quiet. The ancient machine pulsed softly, almost like it was breathing. Vora finally spoke, her voice cracking. "Commander Hale, if this is the only hope the galaxy has, what do we do?" Hale's answer was calm, steady, terrifying. "We prepare. We gather every ally. We unite the broken worlds. And when the void returns, we decide whether we are willing to pay the price." The Trell realized something then. Humanity wasn't fearless. They weren't reckless. They weren't eager for war. They were simply ready to sacrifice everything if it meant saving others. And for the first time the Trell understood. The galaxy had misjudged humans. Terribly. The ancient chamber still glowed with the soft pulse of the Celestia core. Commander Hale stood in silence, staring at the device that could save, or end, the galaxy. The Trell Council members waited for his next words, but none came. Hale was thinking, calculating, preparing. High Commander Redhar finally broke the silence. "Commander, what is your plan?" Hale didn't answer immediately. He lifted his eyes slowly. "The Void Legion is not gone. They were watching. Vora's heart froze. What do you mean, a watching? Hale pointed at the glowing patterns on the walls. These symbols are not decoration. They are warnings. The Guardians left messages. The void always comes back, the moment someone touches the Celestia core. A cold wind moved through the chamber. Lights flickered. The ground beneath them trembled for a brief second, just enough for everyone to feel it. Scientist Abel whispered, "Are you saying they know we activated it?" Hale's voice was calm. "No. I'm saying they're already here." The first signal. Far above the planet, high in the blackness of space, the human flagship Eclipse began sounding alarms. A young human officer shouted, "Commander! Mass disturbance detected at the outer edge of the system." The screen filled with red warnings. Space itself seemed to ripple, like a dark ocean disturbed by something massive beneath it. Then a shape emerged. At first it looked like a shadow. Then many shadows. Then too many to count. The Void Armada. A fleet made of black metal and living darkness. Silent. Cold. Endless. Not ships, predators. The officer's voice shook. "There are millions of them." Another officer corrected him. "Millions? No, sir. There are billions." The Eclipse went silent. The void had finally returned. Warning to the surface. Commander Hale's wrist device beeped. He pressed it, and a hologram of the human officer appeared, panicked. "Commander, the Void Legion has arrived. They are approaching the planet." Every Trell in the chamber gasped. Redhar stepped forward. "How long until they reach our orbit?" The officer looked terrified. "Minutes, maybe less." The hologram vanished. Hale closed his eyes for a moment. Then he turned to the Trell. "We must seal the vault. Now." Vora shook her head instantly. "But the core." Hale raised his voice for the first time. "If they get the core, the galaxy is finished." His words struck every heart like a hammer. The Trell realized the truth. The core was not only a weapon. It was bait. And the void had smelled it. Evacuation. Humans and Trell ran through the ancient halls. Sirens blared. Stone walls trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. The vault doors were closing slowly, too slowly. Abel yelled, "Why is it shutting down so slowly?" Hale answered as he pushed equipment toward the exit. "Because it was designed to keep things inside, not out." The Trell felt their blood run cold. Inside. What had the Guardians trapped in this place? What were they now unleashing? The first strike. Outside, on the planet's surface, the sky turned black. Not from clouds, but from the massive void ships entering the atmosphere. Long black tendrils of energy reached downward like claws. Entire mountains trembled. Forests burned. Cities screamed in alarm. The void didn't speak. Didn't threaten. Didn't demand surrender. It simply consumed. The first wave struck the outer settlements, ripping buildings apart with silent, cold energy beams. Trell citizens ran for shelter. Human shuttles scrambled to evacuate as many as possible. Chaos exploded across the world. Inside the vault, final seconds. The doors were halfway closed. Hale shoved the core into a containment capsule humans brought with them. A sphere of glowing metal designed to hold infinite energy. Abel yelled, "Can you carry it?" "It looks unstable." Hale lifted the container easily. "Unstable? It's more than unstable. If this cracks open, we die first. The galaxy second." The vault shook violently again. A deep booming sound echoed from outside. Redhar shouted, "Hurry! The void has reached the mountain range." Vora felt tears in her eyes. "What are we going to do?" Hale answered without turning. "We run. We regroup. Then we decide whether we are ready to use the core." The vault doors slammed shut behind them. A sound like thunder rolled through the ground. The ancient vault sealed forever. The mountain falls. As Hale and the Trell ran through the snow, the entire mountain exploded behind them. Black beams tearing through rock and ice. The humans pushed the Trell into shuttles. Hale looked up at the burning sky. Void ships were everywhere. Dark clouds of metal and energy blocking the sun. Abel whispered, "This is the end." Hale replied firmly, "No. This is the beginning. A choice that will decide everything." The human officer contacted Hale again. "Commander, the fleet is ready. But if we stay, we'll be wiped out." Redhar stepped forward. "We cannot abandon our world." Hale looked at both of them. Then at the core in his hands. Then at the sky, where the void descended like a giant storm. His voice was soft. "Come, deadly. We're not abandoning anyone. But we cannot win here. We need to go where the void cannot follow." Vora whispered, And where is that? Hale looked her in the eyes. Their home. The Trell froze. The humans stared. Even the skies, filled with void terror, seemed to quiet for a moment. Abel finally spoke. You want to attack the void, at their source? Hale nodded. If we don't, the galaxy dies. Suspense end. The human shuttle doors closed. The ship lifted into the burning sky. The last thing the Trell saw was Hale holding the glowing core. A weapon powerful enough to end the void forever. Or end everything else.